of the hardest things that we ask from our children is that when we walk into a store and they see a toy and they say to themselves, I want this now. Tati, can I have it? Mommy, I really want this toy. And we turn to our child and we say, not now. Wait, and maybe later we'll get you something better. A child has a very, very difficult time accepting that as an answer because they want the thing that's in front of them at that moment. In very many ways, we too are like children. We have taivas that are in front of us. We have things that draw us towards it, and we have an interest in them. And yet, we ask of ourselves to say, no, don't give in. It's a tremendous challenge. And how does a person go about life saying to themselves, I'm not going to give in to that temptation? Just say no. Does that work? Before I go into the concept of pichus, I want to relate a story. And I think this story will give us an insight in what it is to be a true pikeach and how we're able to overcome these types of challenges in our lives. I have a close family member who many years ago was dating and living with a non-Jew. And as she was living that life, she would still come to our home for Yom Tovim. And we were grateful that we were able to have that relationship. And then as our children got a little bit older, I ended up reaching a point where I told this relative that, and unfortunately, with our children reaching a certain age, I don't want to have to start explaining things about this cousin. I don't want to start explaining things to the child. And therefore, I'm actually saying goodbye. And it was a very emotional standpoint. And at that moment, this person is looking at me and saying, what am I supposed to be doing? This is where my feelings are. The challenge in front of her. I asked her if she could do me a favor. Close her eyes, and I want her to visualize something. I want her to visualize having a child. She closes her eyes, and she's visualizing. She has a child. Then I asked her, I said, I want you to look around the room and tell me, who do you see in the room with you? And she said, I see my mother, I see my aunts, I see my cousins. And it was a hard thing to do, but I told her, I said, let's start checking off the list and crossing the people off the list. Your mother's not going to be there. Your aunts are not going to be there. Your cousins are not going to be there. The room is now empty. It took her 6 months, and she was able to break off the relationship. She, Baruch Hashem, got married to a frum Jew, has 4 children, follows in the Mahalchei HaTorah. The only way to withstand the challenge is by putting something else in front of us as another option. Ezehu chacham haroya es hanoilad. When we see the thing as if it's in front of us right now. Of course, when the only thing that's presented to us is the challenge, and we're not able to have a visual aid of what the future holds for us as an actual choice, that's when it becomes a challenge. But when we're able to see things that are going to be happening, and that becomes an option that's in front of me right now, then the choice is a much simpler choice. And then we're able to choose properly. Ezehu chacham haroya es hanoilad means that I actually see the item as if it's in front of me right now. And that's really what pichus is. To be a pikeach, to be able to see things clearly. Koirach she pikeach hoya, says Rashi. It blocked up his eye. Why only one eye? When we get caught up and we see things with one eye, we may have a certain perspective, but we're missing depth. We're missing out on where the item really is in the circle of life. Kairach gets caught up and he's only able to see things from one perspective, and that sets him off. But then there's the concept that we have of being a true pikeach. And a pikeach means that we're able to see the future as if it's right now. And if we could see the future by using both of our eyes, that creates proper depth perception, then we will be able to overcome the challenge. A bracha to us all, to use the koyach hari'iyah that comes about through v'hoyer einenu b'sarasecha, and that in turn gives us the chachma to make the proper decisions and not to see things like a child that wants the taiva as right now, but rather we're able to look at it from a different perspective, which is one of te'avain, which is whetting our appetite to be able to enjoy our lives at a later point.